Taurus, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of February. And so the way that I've structured this video, it does apply to primarily your rising sign, but your sun sign is also applicable as well as your moon sign. And so your rising sign is how other people perceive you. If you're running your birth chart, it's the ascendant. And then your sun sign, most people know what their sun sign is based on their birth date, and then your moon sign. And so the sun sign is how you express yourself. And so we have the rising sign, how people understand you, the sun sign, how you express yourself, and then there's the moon sign, which does indicate how you process everything on an emotional level. And that's really why they're kind of the big three when you're trying to understand exactly what's going to happen to you over the month. And so just to jump right into this, we have a lot of energy in the sign of Aquarius. And so using the whole signs, so that's the way that I run the birth charts. The sign of Aquarius is actually impacting your house of career and public reputation. So this is your 10th house. This is a pretty dominant theme throughout. And what you're going to find is there's a lot of transformation taking place here when it comes to your career. And so right away, we already had the Sun and Pluto both move into the sign of Aquarius. So we're starting the month. They're already there. Pluto in Aquarius is a very transformational energy. I mean, that's what Pluto is. It's the planet of transformation. It's the death and rebirth. But in the sign of Aquarius, so Aquarius is innovative, outside of the box thinking. It breaks down structures. And this Pluto in Aquarius energy specifically is going to break down any structures that you might have been cultivating over the last 15, 16 years that just don't apply to you anymore. And so this would be maybe creating limitations or developing skill sets that just, you don't need them anymore. So there's no reason to hold on to them. And so just keep that kind of in mind as we go through this entire reading, because that is going to be a theme throughout. Lots of transformation taking place, specifically in your house of career and public reputation. And so on the 5th, so it's right after midnight on the 5th. If you're in the Pacific time zone or in a different time zone, it could be on the 4th. So right away on February 5th at 12:10 in the morning, so we already had Pluto and the Sun in Aquarius. Now we have Mercury entering into the mix. And so Mercury is about communication. It's you expressing yourself. It's also how you process information. And so right away, Mercury and Pluto are going to be conjunct, which means the energy really just blends together in a very cohesive way. So it's a blending where you can't really distinguish the two. And so it's transformation, it's discussion. This is all around your career sector. And so what obstacles may have been in place when it comes to your career? What conversations need to take place in order to move your career forward? Or maybe it's just adjust your career in general. Maybe it's not move in a different direction, but maybe it's modify. And so whatever is happening here, you're being given an opportunity to really communicate what it is that you want, and then also remove those barriers that are preventing you from going after exactly what you want. Because we also have Mercury is going to be conjunct Mars. And so this is a really interesting one because this speaks specifically to those structures that you've been forming you just don't need anymore. And so Mars is actually in the sign of Capricorn. And so that is impacting your 9th house. So long distance travel, higher education, philosophy. So philosophy in the sense of these are your core beliefs, that type of philosophy. And so what's happening here is you're being given an opportunity to say, what is it that I want to do from a career standpoint? Am I holding my own self back because I believe something? Like, I'll use an example. Probably shouldn't use this example, but I'm going to anyway. So if you're a really religious person and you see like all of these marijuana centers coming up, does that conflict with your religious beliefs? If you were being offered an opportunity at one of these centers, would you say yes to it, even though you don't believe in that? Or maybe it goes against your religion in some sort of way. And so that would be something that maybe is a structure. It's a philosophy that maybe you've created for yourself. It's a limitation that you've put on yourself when it comes to your career. But maybe the ideal opportunity for you is at this new company. And then what is it that you should do? And so this is giving you that opportunity to really break down some of those structures. And this is something, I mean, Aquarius is the rebel, so don't expect these structures to take a long time to unfold. I mean, it is going to drop. And so that's the energy here. And with that Mars in Capricorn, so Capricorn is the structure. It is that long-term plan. It's putting those limits in place. It's really creating that path for you. But then does that path still make sense to you? And so this is where you do have that opportunity. You also have the opportunity, again, all at the same time, Mercury is going to be in a square with Jupiter and Taurus. And so what does that mean for you? It means your career and everything about your career is in a challenging position to who you are. So the example that I just gave about the marijuana and the religious beliefs, and do they conflict? This is actually going to be an easier transit because Jupiter's in the mix. And so Jupiter is like the Midas touch. Everything it touches turns to gold. And so you don't have to worry about that. Anything that maybe any restrictions you put on yourself to really point you in a path, but that doesn't apply to you anymore, you can expect to be liberated from it. You can expect to process the information. So even if you're not the one communicating and saying, I need this barrier to come down, if the universe removes the barrier, you're going to understand why. That's that Mercury energy. Mercury is also going to be sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so Neptune in Pisces, I mean, these are your dreams. This is exactly what you want. That's the Pisces energy. That's Neptune energy. Neptune is at home in Pisces, so it's really positive from that perspective. And where it's impacting you is your 11th house. Your 11th house is your community. These are the people that you choose to be around. So your friends, maybe some extended family is in the mix here. And so there's a connection between your career and your community. And so think about it from like a public reputation standpoint. What kind of standing do you have in the community? Is there something about that that maybe has held you back in your career? Is there something there that you want to modify and change just so that you can move forward in the direction that you want to? And so it's a lot of energy happening on the 5th, and you'll notice that that energy kind of ebb and flows the rest of the month. And so on the 9th, we actually have the new moon in Aquarius. And so now we have the sun, the moon, Mercury, and Pluto all in the same sign. And so again, right away, the sun and the moon are going to be in a conjunction. So that's what a new moon is. They're at the same degree point in the sky. So you really don't see the moon because the sun is blocking it, but that is going to impact your 10th house of career. And so when the sun and the moon are in a conjunction like this means that kind of that emotional expression, the way that you want to present yourself, expressing your feelings is going to come very naturally to you at this time. That's why you hear a lot about like those new moon intentions, because this is the time when you're probably the most clear on expressing exactly what it is that you want. And so again, it's going to come down to your career. What is it that you want? How do you want to express yourself? How do you want to communicate that, like your emotional needs coming to the surface? We will also have the sun and moon in a square with Uranus and Taurus. And so we've got, again, sun and moon in your house of career and public reputation. Don't want to forget that piece. And then Uranus is in Taurus. So that's your first house. Uranus is like the Tower card in tarot. So this would be sudden change. This would be liberation. Sound familiar? It's Aquarius energy. And so this is going to impact you in that first house. This is who you are. This is your physical body. This is how you perceive yourself. This is how you present yourself to the world. And so again, now we're looking at your career as it relates to who you are and what changes need to happen here in order for you to be able to move forward in the direction that you want when it comes to your career. And so you might have some issues here just because this is a square. So there is going to be some obstacles and challenges around how do I express myself in a way that people will understand what changes I am making to myself. Maybe you've already made these changes to yourself, or you're kind of a work in progress when it comes to that. And so figuring out how to overcome those obstacles and challenges is going to be something that you can do with this energy. This isn't going to be an easy flowing energy, not like what we saw back on the 5th. It does indicate that you will have any blocks that kind of prevent instability. So if you did create some sort of structure that maybe doesn't have you in a balanced alignment with yourself, or doesn't have you feeling grounded, so there is going to be this removal of that type of energy from your life. Again, that's the Uranus energy. It's just going to be this sudden change that will catch you off guard. That's exactly what it's going to do, but it's all for the better here. And because what also is happening, because again, there's a lot happening with each one of these transits. And so with the sun and the moon, they're going to be trine the South Node in Libra. So what does that mean? So the nodes are the eclipse points. Right now we're in the Aries Libra eclipse season. And so the South Node is in the sign of Libra. That is going to impact your house of daily routines. And so now when it comes to expressing yourself from a career, from a public reputation standpoint, how does that impact your 6th house? How does that impact your daily life? How does that impact the relationships that you have in your daily life? Because that Libra energy is about balancing relationships and balancing communication. So what is it that you're trying to do here? What is it that you want to change or do within your daily life that supports your career? Because all of that is being highlighted here. We also have the sun and the moon will be sextile Chiron and Aries. So I just talked about the Aries Libra eclipses. So now we've got the Aries in the mix. And so what's happening here, your career is it requires some sort of action on your part if you want to go through this, but there's going to be an opportunity to heal whatever has prevented you from moving forward in your career. And maybe it's more the public reputation at this point where you need to do some healing. So Chiron is actually in your 12th house. So the 12th house is the subconscious. So what is it about you and that inner you that needs to be modified, needs to heal? Like, have you been telling yourself you're not good enough to have the career that you want? This would be that opportunity to heal that energy, to say, you know what, I can have the career that I want. I just unknowingly put these structures in place that prevented me from doing exactly what it is that I wanted to do. And so this is all giving you this opportunity to move forward, to kind of heal some of your subconscious energy. Maybe it's like that negative self-talk, so that you can go after exactly what you want here. And so now we have Mars entering Aquarius on the 13th. And so again, this is going to happen pretty early in the morning in the Eastern time zone. It's 1:05 a.m. So it's going to be the night before in the Pacific time zone. And so what happens now is we'll have the Mars, Sun, and Pluto in Aquarius. The moon's gone. The moon moves every couple of days into a new sign. So it's gone at this point. But there is more energy around your career and public reputation. And so Mars is going to be conjunct Venus. Interesting information about this. So there's a lot of Mars-Venus kind of overlap in the month of February. Venus is actually sitting in the sign of Capricorn. Mars is sitting in the sign of Aquarius. So there is another 10th house, 9th house connection where your career and public reputation and your personal philosophy, maybe higher education, long distance travel, all those 9th house themes. I'm trying to think of other ones that would be applicable here. Might be religion. I think that more of like philosophy, like again, just your foundational philosophy is highlighted here. And so Venus is an energy that pulls things together. Mars is actually a separating energy. And so where Venus is receptive and loves relationships and wants to bring things together, Mars is very action oriented and wants to move forward. And it doesn't matter if that was a nice person or not. Like if that person doesn't fit, Mars is going to move on. And that's that type of energy here. And so what's happening is you're really starting to break down some of these structures, but you are at the same time kind of being true to yourself here, because Venus in that 9th house does want you to, what is it that you want to hold on to? What do you value here? Because that is Venus energy. And so what part of your philosophy, like your foundational self, do you still want to hold on to? You don't have to get rid of everything. Not everything needs to go, but maybe just pieces of it need to go, or they just need to be modified. And so that is the connection between your career and this 9th house energy. And so really kind of focusing here on the self-love. And so this is what's going to help you break free from those restrictions, including any kind of limiting behaviors. We'll also have Mars square Jupiter in Taurus. And so again, we're looking at your career and your house of self, that first house, who you are. And so Jupiter and Taurus, we already know, is a positive energy. So all these changes that you're going to make to yourself are meant to put you on a better path, are meant to kind of get rid of all of that white noise around you that just doesn't, it's not serving you. So don't hold on to it. And this would be the actions that you're taking. So definitely focus on the actions here that you need to do. So we had that Mercury energy, and now we have the Mars doing the same thing. So processing, communicating, action-oriented, a lot's happening here. We also have Mars sextile Neptune in Pisces. So again, a lot of connection between your house of career and public reputation and then your community life. And so Neptune in Pisces, we already know, is just what dreams do you have? How do you want to be seen within the community? What kind of role do you want to play? And then how does that factor into your career and your career decisions, the path forward in that respect? And so really taking a look here at what needs to change, because we're still in Aquarius. So what needs to change here? Innovation, liberation, just kind of think of those types of things. Like, what is it that I need to change about my life in order to go after what I want? We'll also have Mars conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. And so again, like this is really that liberating energy. And so Pluto is here to kind of guide that transformation and to say, you know what, everything that you're doing, we're going to help you through it. We're going to make it happen, and it's going to happen real quick. And that's the energy of that Mars conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. So we just had Mars on the 13th enter Aquarius. Now we have Venus entering Aquarius on the 16th. And so we'll have Pluto, Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury all in your house of career. That's a lot of energy in your career. So very, very strong career and public reputation energy this month. And so right away, what I can see here is that Venus is semi-sextile the Sun, what this really means is that they're kind of at the opposite ends. The sun is getting ready to move into Pisces, so it's towards those later degree points. And then we have Venus that just entered the sign of Aquarius. And so because they're so far apart from each other, it's not like a conjunction where they talk to each other and there's a lot of synergy. These two are creating a little bit of friction with each other. So there's a friction around how you want to express yourself and what you value. So it's not a strong energy by any means. A semi-sextile is not strong, but it does create some friction here. But at the same time, you're also going to have Venus trine the moon in Taurus. And so now the moon is going to be in your first house. And so where it might be some friction in expressing yourself, this to me feels like the stronger energy, like almost like this would be the dominant energy of the two, where Venus trine the moon. So what is it about your moon, your emotions, how you process things emotionally in the sign of Taurus, which is a very grounded, you're an earth sign, and so your first house, who you are. And so what is it about your career that you can express yourself kind of freely, openly, kind of honestly about yourself? What is it that you value? What is it that you want here? So just kind of keep that in mind. We'll have Venus also conjunct Mars. So what kind of actions do you need to take in order to kind of further exactly what it is that you want? And again, like think about your emotional needs and does that align with your career goals? What needs to be modified here? Because we do have Venus also conjunct Pluto. And so think about all the changes that need to take place in order for you to get exactly what you want. Because again, it's all coming down to your career and just breaking free and making room really for what is necessary in order for your career to move forward. And then we'll also have Venus sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so again, more of that connection between, okay, what I value, what I want in my career, and how does that align with the goals that I've set for myself, the dreams that I have for myself, the role that I want to play within the community. So that is all being highlighted here. And then on the 18th, we'll have the sun entering Pisces. And so we'll have the sun, Saturn, and Neptune all in the sign of Pisces. So now we're kind of moving a little bit less emphasis on your career and more emphasis on that community around you. And so right away, what you can see is the sun is going to be trine the moon in Cancer. And so the sun is going to be in your house of community. The moon is sitting in the sign of Cancer. That's going to impact your third house. Third house is communication. It is short distance travel, could be siblings, but really the big piece here is the moon. And so the moon is your emotional, how you process everything. How do you feel about the situation? The moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. So there's a lot of loving, nurturing type of energy behind this. And so how you're expressing yourself in your community is going to be very heartfelt. It's going to be very authentic. And so there's a lot of encouraging, supporting energy around you when it comes to this. The sun will also be conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. And so the sun moved into Pisces, but Mercury is still in the sign of Aquarius. And so now we're looking again at your community connected to your career. And so the sun in that community, so again, you're expressing yourself within the community. Mercury is sitting in Aquarius. And so what communication, what processing of information needs to change in order for you to kind of move forward with what you want from a community standpoint? Are you trying to change your role? How does that impact your career? What changes maybe need to be made within your career to make sure you can achieve that goal? It really is coming down to this interplay between the community and your career. We'll have the sun conjunct Saturn, so both in this house of community. And so we've got the sun, so we know it's about how you express yourself, but we also have Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, so this is structure. This is really coming up with a plan. This is, we're not in any rush here, not at all. This is the ruler of Capricorn, and so this energy is a very slow moving energy. Saturn does not transit signs very frequently, and so with the sun conjunct Saturn, this is giving you an opportunity to work on expressing yourself within the community. And this energy is going to be here for as long as the sun is conjunct Saturn. So it's going to be here for a little bit because they're going to be in a conjunction for probably about a week. And so you're going to feel this energy of, okay, I'm going to create a plan for myself that allows me to go after the type of community that I want. Maybe it's bringing more people into your tribe and that's going to help your career. Is it like that networking type of thing? Or is it something where you're looking for some sort of status within the community and that's going to bolster your career, or vice versa? And so a lot of this energy is kind of coming to the fore with this 11th house, 10th house connection. And I say that only because Saturn would be so in some cases, the 10th house is your career and public reputation. And so Saturn is the natural ruler of the 10th house. And that's where a lot of this energy is coming from. And so there is this interplay between the two. We will have the sun semi-sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And so even though they're in different houses at this point, they're at that degree point that says there's going to be friction between the two. So when it comes to your community, when it comes to your career, there might be some friction here around the way that you express yourself versus what you actually need in order to move forward in your career. Maybe there's some barriers, maybe there's some things that are changing within your career that you're just really not ready to let go of. But Pluto in Aquarius is saying, you can't hold on to that anymore. It doesn't serve you. And so this is where there might be a little bit of friction here. Best bet, just lean into the energy. I mean, there's a reason these things are being removed from your life, so just lean into it. And then on the 23rd, we have Mercury entering the sign of Pisces. So you can see that all these kind of, the inner planets are starting to kind of, well, they follow each other. And so now they're all starting to move into the sign of Pisces. And so again, this is going to happen really early in the morning. So if you're in the Pacific time zone, it's going to happen the night before. But we're going to have the Mercury, Sun, Saturn, and Neptune all in the sign of Pisces. And so this is going to impact your 11th house of community. Mercury is going to be conjunct the sun. And so this is going to be, okay, expressing yourself, but really that natural ability to express exactly what it is that you want, what it is that you need. What do you need in order to feel fulfilled in your community? Just kind of focus on that. We will have Mercury opposite the moon in Leo. And so we'll have this connection between communication around your community. Moon in Leo is actually going to impact your 4th house. And so your 4th house of home. And so what is it about your 4th house? What is it about your home life and your community life that you might feel are at odds with each other? So that moon in Leo is about creative expression. And with Mercury, it's more expression energy. And so creative expression of your emotions. This is going to feel like you feel more comfortable doing it at home versus maybe not so comfortable doing it out in public, because that's that kind of opposition energy, that push-pull that happens. And so there is also going to be, because all these energies are never just standalone energies, so we have Mercury also conjunct Saturn. So what's happening here is the communication that you're kind of coming up with is going to create some sort of structure. So there might be an odds with the structure that you're creating for yourself, because it is conjunct Saturn. Saturn is about structure. Let's create those building blocks. Let's set that plan. Let's create it. Let's work through the details and let's set it in motion. And I don't care if it takes 20 years, let's set it in motion. And so that might conflict with what you need from an emotional standpoint. Maybe you don't need, because that moon in Leo energy is really standing out. So maybe it's a creative expression. So are you limiting yourself creatively? Is there something here with the structure that you're trying to create that just isn't working for you? So keep that in mind, because we do also have Mercury in a semi-sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. And so again, they're in different houses, but they're at that 30-degree point where it's creating some friction. And so what is it about maybe the structures that you're trying to communicate or you're trying to create here with that Saturn energy that is causing some friction with what you've been releasing when it comes to your career? Are you trying to revive something in your career that just doesn't serve you anymore? Because that would be that type of energy. So when it comes to your career, when it comes to your public reputation, when it comes to your community, and maybe you're standing within the community, are you trying to hold on to structures or bring back structures that Aquarius already liberated you from? And so that's the type of energy that's coming out. Again, kind of lean into the energy and be mindful of that was not a healthy pattern. There's no need to bring it back. That type of energy. And then towards the end of the month on the 24th, we are going to have the full moon in Virgo. And so this is going to be, so it's a sun moon opposition. So a push-pull energy between how you're expressing yourself and how do you feel about that. And so Virgo is going to be in your 5th house, which is children, it's play, it's short-term romance, it is creative expression, passion, hobbies. And then we've got the sun is in Pisces, and so that's in your house of community. And so is there some sort of push-pull happening when it comes to your community, your creative expression, maybe some passion, some hobbies that you're working on? How is it that you're how is it that you're trying to use this energy? What is it you're really trying to release? Because the full moons are about releasing something. So there's something here that just isn't working for you anymore. And the reason that Virgo is showing up is that you've kind of been starting to create or maybe recreate some of these structures within your community. And it's at odds with how you want to be from a creative standpoint. There's something about this that just doesn't work for you anymore. And so you're going to need to really figure out what isn't working and just kind of let it go. At the same time, you have this full moon. We also have the moon is going to be opposite Mercury. And so Mercury at this point, still in Pisces. So now, again, we've got the 5th house, 11th house energy. And so the moon is going to be opposite Mercury in the sign of Pisces. So we've got that Mercury in Pisces, communicating your dreams. It's about maybe, I'm trying to think of the right way to describe it, because sometimes Pisces and that Neptune energy can create a false sense of reality. It's that illusions, it's that dreamlike state. And so with the moon opposite, are the dreams that you've created for yourself, are they so outlandish that they just aren't based in reality? They can never be based in reality. And is there something here that is maybe at odds with each other? So kind of figuring out exactly how you see yourself within the community, and then realistically put that up against maybe passion projects you're working on, the creative aspect of everything, and see, do they align? How do I put them into an alignment? Because it is a push-pull type of energy, but balance can absolutely be achieved here. And I say that as somebody who's born during the full moon, and it absolutely can. And so then another one is the moon is going to be trine Jupiter in Taurus. And so moon in your creative sector, we've got Jupiter in Taurus, so a lot of luck around you, who you are. And so this is a very positive energy, because this indicates that you're feeling very confident about yourself. You're feeling very good about the direction that your life is going. You feel confident in your abilities, who you are. It's really that being happy with yourself type of energy with that moon trine Jupiter. And so really hold on to that energy and figure out what it is that you need to let go of, because we are at a full moon. And so there's something here, there's some sort of structure or something connected to the community that you do need to let go of. Maybe it's this kind of false reality that you've created, or the ideal community that doesn't exist. And so just keep that in mind and use the energy of feeling good about yourself to help understand what needs to go. Because we are also going to have that moon opposite Saturn in Pisces. And so we've got that 5th house, 11th house connection again. So Saturn in Pisces, what structures exist within your community that just don't align with how you see yourself? And again, really kind of rely on the confidence that you have in yourself, your creative abilities, how you see yourself. This is going to help you understand what structures just aren't working for you anymore. And so really kind of lean into that energy. As we kind of move more into Pisces season, we're going to see a lot more Pisces energy, but don't worry, Pluto and Aquarius, it's not going anywhere. So Taurus, this is your reading for the month of February. Let me know what you think, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.